for saying things which fit that particular ideology, that particular tribal group. And so I think it's always important to try and look for things which you do agree with in the things which are said. And there's a story about, what's his name now? Alistair Campbell, who has apologised for claiming that Charlie Kirk had overinterpreted a line in Leviticus about stoning gay people. And in fact, what he'd actually said was that he didn't think it was important to focus too much on what people did privately in the bedroom. And I think that's rather a positive angle. It made me look up some of the things which both Charlie Kirk and other people have said that I sort of agree with. There's one here: if you believe in something, you need to have the courage to fight for those ideas, not run away from them or try and silence them. I think calling people to have conviction and civic courage is a great positive. Never give up, never surrender, always go for the win, promotes resilience and ambition. Of course, in the wrong hands, it could promote stubbornness and a refusal to listen. Greatness, on the other hand, requires the liberty and the drive to make the most of yourself. That speaks of self-determination and the importance of freedom in achieving success. It's something which I would encourage as well. I would base my idea of greatness and achieving the most that you can on the command to be perfect as your Heavenly Father is perfect, on the principle of theosis or deification. When you deliberately distort and selectively present the truth, you lie. And that again is something which I think is a really fine principle. Those are from Charlie Kirk. It's about intellectual honesty and integrity, at least rhetorically. Tommy Robinson, similarly, his public statements are more often framed in adversarial or provocative terms, which makes identifying the positive things he says sometimes a bit more difficult. Still, there are a few that are affirming and encouraging. At one point he says, we need a New England where all religions and colours feel proud of our flag and recognise how important our identity and culture is. This idea of an inclusive sounding appeal to national identity, though obviously deeply contested in its implications, is something that I would wholeheartedly endorse and is something that we must rally around. The flag should become a central feature of our identity. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Stand up for what you believe, never be intimidated by anyone. It's a strong exhortation to personal courage and defiance. And I think it's important to be ready to stand up for your beliefs. I think it's also important to listen to other people. We need strong leadership, not cowards who are begging petrol dollars and wanting a bloc Islamic vote. While the second half is characteristically divisive, the first half of what he's saying is a clear call for strong leadership, at least in its framing. And, I think all the time when we are stuck in this sort of adversarial, tribal-based mindset, we need to look at people who are leading the debate, often on the other side, sometimes on our side, who knows? People don't always say exactly what they mean, and they don't always mean exactly what they say. But if you can find in what people say something that you can hold on to, something that seems positive and life-affirming, then it's a way in to try to understand somebody, and without understanding somebody, without trying to understand somebody, we're left in a strange world where this person belongs to our team, that person belongs to your team, and we don't communicate. We need to communicate, and there need to be points of reference. And I mean, there are people who I deeply dislike. Mr. Putin would be one of them. But I can remember even Mr. Putin saying things and being held up as an icon of responsibility, talking about responsibility and talking about duty. And duty is something that I think is fundamental to our life. It's something we learn early on, and it's something that should become a habit, that we're asked to do something and we jolly well go ahead and do it. And that is our duty. In the same way, of course, Mrs. Thatcher, way back in the day, had the most extraordinary interpretation of the Good Samaritan in the Bible, in Luke's Gospel. And she said, and this is something that has sort of stuck with me, we only know of the Good Samaritan because he had money. And it's absolutely true. You can't give charitably to somebody unless you actually have money in the first place. And you can't offer somebody practical help unless you have the means to offer that help. The Good Samaritan had money, and he used it wisely. And I think that was Thatcher's point. Now, there are many people who don't agree with Thatcher, but I don't think that statement would be something that would be disputed. I wouldn't want to be caricatured into thinking that I dismiss people out of hand. I don't. I look for what can be, for what good can be found. I am afraid in the case of Mr. Putin, I think he has abandoned the good, and there is a point when somebody abandons too much good that they drift into evil, and then it's very difficult for them, I think it's impossible for them to pull themselves back. They need to be pulled back by people of goodness, and that's called exorcism. They're in the grip of evil. And I'm not even sure that Mr. Putin is alive, so we may be beyond the point of rescue. But there we are. Just a few thoughts for the evening.